Inside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s church in Atlanta on Thursday, the nation's first black president, who has acknowledged there was a black president only because of what John Lewis sacrificed, delivered a eulogy for the civil rights icon and eventual congressman that went well beyond pure remembrance. In words that were both highly specific and at times more oblique, Obama declared Lewis' lifelong battle for racial equality to be ongoing and stated explicitly that forces in power today are working to undermine it. Drawing a direct line between the bridge in Selma, Alabama, where Lewis was bloodied by state troopers in 1965 and the protests this summer following police killings of black Americans, Obama delivered his most forceful address since leaving office, casting the actions of his successor, who avoided any in-person remembrances for Lewis, though 3 of his 4 living predecessors made the journey, as corrosive for democracy. We may no longer have to guess the number of jelly beans in a jar to cast a ballot, but even as we sit here there are those in power that are doing their darndest to discourage people from voting, Obama said, hours after President Donald Trump suggested on Twitter that November's presidential contest be delayed because of the unproven potential for fraud. As Trump wages a re-election campaign reliant on racist tropes and a vague notion of heritage that many see rooted in an outdated vision of the country, Obama said Lewis would eventually be remembered as another type of national hero. America was built by John Lewis's, Obama said. He, as much as anyone in our history, brought this country a little bit closer to our highest ideals. And someday, when we do finish that long journey towards freedom, when we do form a more perfect union, John Lewis will be a founding father of that fuller, fairer, better America. It was a dramatic return to the political fray for a former president who has steadfastly worked to avoid becoming a foil for Trump, even as he frets privately and to Democratic donors about Trump's actions and words. But it was also a deeply personal recognition of a life Obama admitted was necessary for his own political ascent. Imagine the courage of 2 people Malia's age, younger than my oldest daughter, on their own, to challenge an entire infrastructure of oppression, he said, evoking his 22-year-old eldest child. John was only 20 years old, but he pushed all 20 of those years onto the center of the table. At a moment when the country is reckoning anew over questions of systemic racism following the police killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor and countless other black and brown Americans, Thursday's funeral was a measuring moment, both the time to reflect on the grainy black and white newsreels of another generation's struggle and an opportunity to assess where that struggle continues to come up short.